the show you've been waiting for. The place to get your news with guests from veteran non-profits and veteran businesses. And now for your host, Derek, Will, Dave, and Damien. This is Veteran Logic.
Hey guys, this is Will from Veteran Logic, and beside me we've got Derek.
I'm Dave.
Damien.
This is Veteran Logic. What have we got going on today, Derek?
All the things. Let's see. Well, our overview is going to be the stuff that John Kerry talked about. What was that, yesterday?
With Israel?
Yeah. We got the President-elect Donald Trump, who recently just met with the healthcare executives on Wednesday. And
that's the new reform, right?
Yeah, that's what they're still in talks right now. Nothing's been presented.
The VA reform.
And then we got what's been
VA reform
introduced into the House, which is HR 4683 is the other thing that we're going to be getting into.
Well, let's start on that one because the HR 4683, in case any of you guys have not heard about it yet, it's the Fairness for Veterans Act of 2016.
Mm-hmm.
And currently, right now, it is still in proposal, I guess.
It's been introduced.
It's been introduced. That's right. So
that's where it's sitting at right now.
Okay. So it's still at Congress right now.
Correct.
It's on the floor, but it's not been.
Yeah, that's a big word too. It's right on the floor.
Yeah, so
that's probably exactly where it's at right now.
If you look at what they have to go through, basically it gets introduced and then it has to pass the House, then it has to pass the Senate. Then it goes to the president, and after the president okays it, then it becomes a law. That's the steps that it goes through. So right now it's just been introduced, so it's at the very first step right now.
So now this was a Colorado Republican Mike Kaufman, right? That actually introduced it back in.
Yeah, that's what the sponsor is.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he actually introduced it. And this is basically going to, let's see, any board review review any medical evidence of Department of Veterans Affairs for a civil healthcare provider, civilian healthcare provider, present by the former member.
Yeah. Yeah.
And review. So this is basically all this is doing is allowing us to be able to go to.
Well, what the bill is for, so this is what the bill is actually for. This bill addresses medical evidence reviews in the case of 1, a former member of the armed forces who is deployed in a contingency operation and subsequently diagnosed as suffering from PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, or traumatic brain injury as a consequence of such deployment. Or a former member, this is part 2, a former member whose application for relief from the terms of his or her military discharge is based in whole or in part on matters relating to post-traumatic stress disorder or traumatic brain injury related to combat or military sexual trauma.
So this is just for the major stuff. This is for service-connected disabilities and injuries.
Right. So this is mainly for PTSD or brain injuries. Like that kind of stuff.
Percussion or something like that.
Right. So
aren't they also talking about trying to do away with the VA healthcare system?
Not on this. No, not on this. This is more of outpatient stuff. Who this recent getting out, actually specializing more on PTSD and brain injury as a consequence of the deployment, just as an overall whole thing.
So being
they've
able
always
to have
done, the standardized crap.
The option to
the
go
way it's been.
Right. So they go see a real doctor.
Right.
But now I wonder. I wonder with what's been going on. I mean,
Well, if that other stuff goes through, then this is going to
into
become obsolete, pretty much.
Right. I mean, it's going to be basically. So I guess we can just go right ahead and go into the whole Trump thing. When he's talking about.
When you speak of the other stuff, are you speaking of privatization? Or
basically. So
privatization.
Well, I mean, what Trump's trying to do, as far as give us the options to go to, privatize, civilian
care provider,
which I think that's needed to happen a long time ago.
Well, the VA healthcare system is way outdated and way over its head.
Yeah.
Big time.
But basically what this is like specifically for, from what I understand, like what it says right down here at the end is, review the case with a reputable presumption in favor of the former member that PTSD or the traumatic brain injury materially contributed to the circumstances resulting in the discharge of a lesser characterization.
Oh, okay. So let's say, so if I'm hearing this right, so basically, let's say that I or Damien or somebody like that or Dave or you got discharged on a dishonorable discharge because of the actions that we were presenting, not necessarily because, it's something like, let's say I got all the way up to like staff sergeant, and all of a sudden I just
you get back from
flip out because of PTSD, right?
Right. Or let's say you have a brain injury, right? And so you have like your chemicals are off balance.
Delayed manifest.
Right.
Right. And so you're not thinking clearly.
Right. And this is something that hasn't been addressed.
Or it's affected the way you think.
And so therefore, because you did not get the treatment in the military, you're actually getting a dishonorable discharge.
Right. Because let's think of what they've all related to brain injuries now. Thanks to all the money in sports, especially like football and stuff like that, we've seen what, brain injuries do to people over a long period of time.
Well, the stupid decisions because they really don't have the decision.
They've been saying like Alzheimer's, dementia, stuff like that. With severe brain injuries, like people with severe brain injuries are more likely to get that kind of stuff.
Right. It's typically things that they wouldn't act a certain way, and that can be presented as far as the military is concerned. I think this is a huge thing for that. So this would actually be separate from the actual Trump thing.
Correct. This is more stating like instead of just the person being like, oh, well, you did this stupid stuff, you're out, you lose all your benefits,
right,
like they've always done, which is ridiculous. Now it's like, okay, something's wrong with this soldier. Let's get him help that he needs.
Give him the benefit of the doubt and investigate the issue
and try and help him instead of just kicking him out to the curb,
well,
like we see all those veterans.
Would not the Trump thing enable the doctors to be able to make a more honest
decision about it?
On that? Because right now, the VA tries to cut corners in every way they can.
Well, see, that's a good thing. So, yeah, it sounds to me like when they're saying the civilian side of the house, that's taken away the actual, like the government, VA's government too, and I think it's kind of hypocrisy that they actually handle their own cases, like they have their own doctors that they pay. So to me, that's a conflict of interest.
Like when I got out and I moved here from Fort Campbell, I had to go for I had filled out my claim when I cleared,
right?
With I think it was the American Legion. Did my paperwork.
Yeah.
And then when I came here, I waited, a year before the VA sent me paperwork saying, okay, you need to go see this doctor on this date about this part of your claim, which will say my left knee. And,
right, just one aspect.
Right. And then you go see this doctor, and the doctor's like, oh no, everything's good in there. And then here, 2 years later, I have a huge bone spur in my knee.
Right.
And,
everything's grinding and cracking and breaking.
Right. See, I had that same issue with the bone spur right before I got it, like 6 months before I got out on my exit profile. And, they're like, oh, well, you need to go take x-rays because there's something weird on your knee.
Yeah, there was no MRI. There was no x-rays. He did a physical.
Right.
He shook it and wiggled it and pushed it, and that was it. And I have a huge lipoma inside the joint and a spur on the
inside,
the anterior part of where the bones rub on each other. There's hardly any cartilage in there.
Right.
And they told me probably 8 years ago I had the knees of a 50-year-old man who played sports all his life.
Yeah. See, I had TRICARE at the time, so I ended up just going to a personal doctor, paying for it. And I went to a sports doctor, who'd check out my knee because, let's be honest, who's better, a sports doctor or a VA doctor when it comes to that kind of stuff.
Right, well, and now I finally got to go to a sports doctor. You know, he's the doctor for the I guess you'd call it your farm team soccer.
Oh, okay, yeah, the
Fury.
Yeah.
In Oklahoma City.
The energy.
And,
Yeah.
And he was real good.
Yeah, they're amazing.
But
it's
the
private sector.
The VA said, okay, this is the doctor you can go to if you want to. You know, I chose him from the list. And then the VA did an MRI and x-rays. I get to the doctor's appointment. They don't have any of it.
Of course. It got lost in transition.
Right.
What were you going to say, Dave?
I was just going to say the standards will be higher now. In other words, you go to a VA doctor, he's got to answer to the VA administration about what he decides to do. But if you go to a private doctor, he's got to answer for what he's decided, for what he's done. So he's going to have to make a thorough
Right, because his license is on the line.
He's got to be more thorough.
Well, you also don't have, like 40 doctors trying to use the same
But see,
computer.
That's
you know what I mean?
That's what I've been trying to say about the hypocrisy, though. I mean, if we go to a doctor that has a license and says that
has a smaller practice, doesn't has nearly many patients.
He's still a doctor. Mm-hmm. He rates you at this disability rating, or he says, no, this is a disability issue. Mm-hmm. What right is it of anybody to question that guy's license or that practice? I mean, that's ridiculous.
If you think about it, he is less likely to rate you disabled for something.
Exactly
right. Because he doesn't work for the government.
Which is going to save the government money.
Exactly right. Exactly right.
At least the potential of.
Well, and especially if you're going to your own primary care doctor. Let's say that you've had a family doctor forever, even before you went into the military. Okay, so this doctor actually knows you for this set period of time, and you're coming back. He already knows the history, because and I know that when you go into a doctor's office, $15 with a patient, or 15 hours or 15 minutes with a patient is nowhere enough time to diagnose somebody.
No.
Period.
It's enough time to get your tilts and
And when you have a doctor that's your primary caregiver that you've had for a very long time actually diagnose you, I don't think that should be a question at all.
No. And the fact that he knows you.
Right.
He knows how you were before.
Right. Exactly right.
And how you are now.
He can make an objective decision. Or is it subjective? One of those.
Subjective.
I'm not all that smart.
I'm not smart good.
I didn't go into Air Force.
I'm not. Because they wouldn't have you.
Oh!
And that's okay.
Well, he's a specialist in something.
Oh, man. So that basically what this is doing is this is flowing into the whole Trump situation about the primary caregivers and stuff like this.
But he's wanting all of it. He wants to help fix all of it, not just
some. And that's a great relief. That's huge. I mean, that's like, okay, well, we realize we're not going to try to reinvent the wheel, but there's parts of that wheel, like the spokes and everything else, that we haven't been using. Yeah. And that's why shit's been breaking down. Excuse the phrase, but that's exactly what's been going on.
VA's like that old guy in his chair that, set in his ways.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Coffee at 6.
Oh, yeah.
Soda for the rest of the day until 6. And then it's beer time.
And time to go home.
Every day.
Right.
So it's old and outdated.
The doctors that you see now, they say they quit seeing patients at 4 o'clock. They've got a gob of paperwork to do.
Right,
So they really have quit seeing patients at 1 o'clock. Mm-hmm. I mean, in their mind, they quit seeing patients at 1 o'clock.
Yeah, because they make them leave.
They're already thinking of what they have to do. When they get done here, God, I have to do this, I have to do that. A private doctor.
Right, well, it's like 9 to 5, in and out in the VA hospital.
Right.
Yeah. I had a prescription that I went to pick up, and there was an issue with the prescription, so I went up to the module that prescribed this prescription, and it was 10 after 4. The cages were down around the desks. There was nobody there. Mm-hmm. Nobody to even, ask a question. It was 10 after 4, which means they were out the door at 4.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Well, that's crazy.
And see, that'll stop. when you go see a private physician, he's going to schedule you for an appointment, and he's going to expect to have to meet the obligations of that appointment when you get there.
Right.
Not when you get there, he's going, come on, we got to hurry up. Let's get
Well, and the other thing is if you call their office, you're not going to wait 2 hours to finally get a hold of an actual person.
Right.
Within 20 minutes, they're going to call you back if they didn't answer the phone.
You're lucky if it's only 2 hours.
And then,
Yeah.
And then the wait time that you do when you sit up
that's
there. and wait
not
for
even
it.
talking about the backlog, which causes the wait time.
Right.
And, people dying.
Mm-hmm. Constantly.
So,
Well, that's something else. A civilian doctor will know the procedures if you die. Heaven forbid you die, but at least they'll know the procedure that they need to go through.
Well,
to get you
they'll
taken care of.
contact the specialist
they're not
in
going to
that
leave you.
field instead
They're not
of.
going to leave you in a bed for 7 days.
Or out in the
Or
hallway.
in the hallway for 10 hours, and then in the shower for God only knows how long.
And for 9 hours in the
You
shower.
know.
Yeah.
Of course, we.
Or in the parking lot with your wrist cut because they wouldn't see you.
Yeah.
Which I'm getting tired of.
Seeing videos about that. Well, I mean, we saw, what was that,
That's
2 or 3 weeks ago, there was that video of that guy that, actually a close friend of mine actually knew, I think he knew this guy, and he actually sent a video, or he did a video on his Facebook page because they wouldn't help him, would not help him.
VA turned him away.
Turned him away,
He did
yeah.
a Facebook Live before he killed himself.
Yeah. And, I mean,
That's ridiculous.
after that happened, then I've got a friend of mine that we posted up on Recoil. Remember that? We posted up that video about that because when I came in here that next day, and it's just like it gets to a boiling point where as a veteran you're sitting here and it's like the whole thing's happening again, but it's been always going on. It's never stopped. It's just that it's like comes in waves around you because it's always out there, and you're always going to hear about it. From different vets. Every single one of us has known somebody that's killed themselves, I'm sure. And that's too many. That's way too many. I mean, that's crazy to me.
I tried it when I was a kid. That was the way wrong answer. I would never do that again. Never. Because it's not worth it. You're, like we talked about the other day, all you're doing is passing your grief and guilt to someone else.
to the next person.
It is. It definitely is.
When all you have to do is share it with them.
Yeah, and if there's a vet out there that's listening right now, I think we need to address that because that's one thing that we did in the last video is that if you're watching this video and you've had these thoughts, the worst thing to do is to follow through with that because what you're actually doing, and I can tell you from experience, you're actually passing that same pain off. You're not relieving pain from anybody else, not even yourself. Right. But what you're doing is you're passing that pain off onto your family members, your friends, people that really love you and care about you. And the proper thing is to get help,
Right.
Yeah, but on that note, you've got the middle ward for a veteran. You've got the middle ward, or you've got the hotline.
No.
There's nothing in between.
That's not true.
That's not true.
That's not true.
You got groups.
There are groups and there are people
In fact,
just
for-
like us.
I know, but that's what needs to be brought out.
In fact, for Marines,
a
there's tons
a veteran
of
that's
groups.
living underneath the highway doesn't have any way to find that out.
Well,
We've got to figure out a way to get that out.
Well, you're talking about homeless veterans. Yes, that is a huge problem, and I know where Dave's coming from on that because if you're a homeless veteran, you don't have these things.
You don't have the resources.
You don't have the resources. You don't have the option to get to that. And when you go to the VA center to go get help, and they don't give you the information that you need from all those other options, that's what happens. They fall through the cracks.
Well, and the main problem with a lot of the homeless veterans is two things. They got hooked on opiates while they were in due to injuries, and they just kept prescribing them opiates till they got hooked
Until
on it.
they-
Well, that's where I learned.
Right.
That's where I learned to do drugs.
And then a lot of times they get kicked out for use issues,
Yep.
and so they, now they're out on the street. They're like, go take care of it yourself. We're not going to take, we caused this problem, but we're not going to help you fix it.
Well, that's where I learned to take drugs with the
And
military.
then, the second
And then
issue.
you go to the doctor,
You're old school.
and they give you right.
Just going to the doctor.
Yeah.
Right, but then the
Pills.
second.
I mean, they don't fix anything.
They tell you
They hand you
need
this
to take
pile
this
of pills and say, take all these.
And part of your job is doing what you're told.
Right. Well, the
Right.
second issue that it is also is brain injuries,
Right.
or PTSD, where they do something stupid because, they're not in their right head.
Right mind.
And so what happens? They get discharged. If they're lucky, it's under medical. Otherwise, it's dishonored.
And let's try to get that. I want to try to get
or it's general
that doctor on that you were talking about with the
oh yeah, the one that's been
hormonal treatments,
working on off of grants, doing hormonal treatments for veterans.
I want to try to at least get him on here or have him on speakerphone one time as a guest on here. Because I think that's something, that's an avenue that needs to be presented.
I believe he's down in Texas, if I remember.
Let's see if we can get him on there sometime. I think that'd be great. That'd be really good.
Well, we were talking a couple years ago. I know we were talking about the chambers, the vacuum.
Oh yeah.
What do you call it? The
Isolation.
Barometric
chambers.
chambers.
Yeah. There's still a lot of good things coming from.
They had one here that was operational and doing all kinds of good for the veterans.
But they had to
shut it down
because they couldn't get the oxygen or the oxygens for the actual tanks that they had. They didn't have any.
Because they couldn't get supplies.
They couldn't get the support.
They couldn't get the funding
and all this
They
stuff.
weren't making enough.
And they were making a huge. Well, you saw. Yeah. What do you mean you were talking about?
Well, I know there was Agent Orange guys that were in there, and stuff was like
coming out of their
seeping out of their skin.
And it's documented report. It's fact.
Yeah. And they were feeling better.
Yeah.
Heaven forbid the VA actually do something that helps.
But back to the whole resources and, for lack of a better term, cop out. When you're thinking about killing yourself,
right?
Don't do it. It's there's somebody out there, us. Mm-hmm. You can call us.
Any of us, you can call and we'll devote our full time to it if we have to.
Yeah.
There was a guy in Oklahoma City went to the VA, and this might have been a year or two ago. I saw a Facebook post with him going nuts. It was on OIF, their page. The VA in Oklahoma City turned him away, and he was going to kill himself, and he posted it about it. I saw that, and I immediately contacted a friend of mine who was well known at the time and was a veterans advocate. Took care of that immediately. She called him. It was like 3 o'clock in the morning. She called him, called the hospital, called all the people that needed to be called, and talked him down. There's always somebody out there.
You got to know that. You've got to know that.
Use Instagram. It's out there.
It's huge.
And I'm going to use this term for lack of a better term, but it's a cop-out when you kill yourself.
It is.
Definitely is.
You're passing that grief and guilt and pain to your family and your friends, and that is not fair to them.
Nope. Not at all. So,
and the fact that you give up is something that people will not allow if you will give them a chance to stop it.
They're not going to give up on you.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Exactly.
And if they would, you need to go to some different people.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're just seeing the wrong people. Because there's somebody that will help all the time.
That's right. We've been here for each other too. I mean, and it's not like it's not an easy fix.
Well, you've helped me with when I had issues.
I've
had some serious issues.
Sometimes it doesn't have to be psychiatric help. Sometimes a friend will talk to you.
Yeah.
A friend talking to you is as good as any other thing.
Yeah.
Somebody that would just listen.
Yep.
Not listen to you like you're stupid, but listen to you like you have a problem and they want to solve it for you or help you solve it.
Well, I think that's the other thing right now is I feel like there's a lot less use of the, standard, veterans groups you got the VFW, the American Legion, which are two ones that actually have physical buildings you can go to with other vets to talk to.
Well, there's also other factors that go along with that. Is most of those places they're sitting at the bar.
Well, not in Oklahoma. Most of them don't have bars in Oklahoma.
Really?
Yeah. Dude, we got an American Legion here. In Norman, they don't have a bar. The VFW in the city doesn't have a bar.
I'd give those talks, and a lot of the VFWs I would go to, I would say 50-50, whether they do or don't. There's no set.
Right.
Everyone does or everyone doesn't.
Right.
But the bars, everyone that I went to, there was somebody that was willing to help you.
Right.
No matter
exactly.
Because
even if they have a bar, it's not open every day. And the other thing is they have meeting groups at certain times.
Well, I just know from the past and talking
Old school VFW,
guys,
World War II style.
VFW.
Right.
But see, that back then, that was also a thing. There wasn't a thing called PTSD. They called it shell shock. And it was just, that was it. That's what you had.
And allegedly it lasted for a week or 2 weeks.
I remember
Right,
my grandpa
yeah.
talking about that shell shock. And
It
stuff
wasn't,
like that.
it wasn't thought to be a permanent thing. Whereas
Right.
now they look at it as a permanent,
Right.
something that has to be addressed constantly.
Exactly.
Right.
Well, I have a
Yes.
friend that he drove a Hammett wrecker in Iraq on, you know how the roads are there if you've been over there. But he did recovery, and the doctors told him that his brain was covered with scar tissue just from him bouncing around in
Rattling.
the truck and his head,
Yeah.
doing
Oh
this
my
and
gosh,
getting in
can
and
you
out of the
imagine?
truck, and and he's I haven't heard from him in a long time. I mean, he just completely he's nothing like he was when he was in.
Well, you don't regrow that tissue that's in
Yeah,
there.
no, not in your brain.
I can't remember what that tissue is called, but basically, if you eat meat, like pork or anything, and the really thin
The membrane.
membrane, that white membrane that you cut,
Yeah.
that's all it is in there, and you only have so much. You tear that up.
It's
That's what happens when like boxers and stuff. Like when you see a boxer in their prime, they can just take like tons of hits to the face, and then you see them in their later years, and one dude just gives them one decent punch to the head, and they're down and out.
And
It's
I'm
'cause
not
they've
going
been tearing that
to call
tissue
Randy Couture out because Randy, I love you, but you could see the progression in his career. Every time he got knocked out, the next one was quicker.
Right.
And
Well, see, that's the difference when you see the fighting styles of some of those guys. A lot of guys take it to the ground or avoid just headshots. They'll shot.
Yeah, it's just like the MMA. Stuff.
Because some pros, they'll be like, I've went 6 years and I've maybe taken like 15 shots to the head.
Yeah.
And it's because, they worry more about their head than anything else.
Yeah. Well, you gotta.
Well, I mean, you see it over the years.
Protect like a mesa.
Do you want to be able to hold a conversation or have a list and just look off to the distance?
Can you say Muhammad Ali?
A lot of the greats, man. A lot of the greats have
Mike
some sort or other brain
Mike
damage.
Tyson, shining example.
Yeah, one of the best boxers alive, Mike Tyson.
I bit his ear.
of all time. See, man, that was way later in his career after he had
And that's
a lot of brain
And you know what?
injuries.
That episode could be attributed to trauma.
Exactly, concussions that weren't treated, all kinds of stuff that happened.
So basically, these will coincide themselves. Though, I mean, if you can get the first bill that we were talking about with what Trump is talking about, this is all going to pan together, and this will help.
Right. So So Wednesday, what was it? What's today? The 29th? So the 28th, of December.
Okay.
Yeah. So basically, President elect Donald Trump met with healthcare executives on Wednesday to begin a serious reform of the Department of Veterans Affairs.
And it was just a sit down. It wasn't.
It was just a sit down. There's no official thing going on right. They're in talks right now.
Right.
Nothing's been presented. Nothing has been written out.
Yeah,
He's getting the ball rolling, and he's not.
It wasn't official when he had
Nothing has been
Mad Dog
presented.
Mathis in his office either when they saw him go up there either, did they?
Nothing has been presented, and nothing has been put down in writing in the last 8 years
Right.
because of President Obama.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Giving the old stiff arm to.
So
exactly.
this is what quote they have. By the way, I'm reading this from what is this? Breitbart.com,
Right.
I believe is how you pronounce that.
Free bar.
But anyway, so quoted saying, "I've been saying we have to take care of our vets." Trump told reporters at I'm not going to say where it was because I can't pronounce it. But anyways, after the meetings, we are working on something to make it great for our veterans because they are treated very, very unfairly. So basically, Trump met with John Noseworthy, the president and CEO of the Mayo Clinic, Paul Rothman, the CEO of Johns Hopkins Medicine, as well as Dr. Bruce Moskowitz, Dr. David this one's a hard one, Torchiana of Partners Healthcare and Toby Cosgrove of the Cleveland Clinic.
Sounds like you're just butchering the names.
Yeah, right? That's fine. According to the
You name dropper.
according to the press pool, he's also met with Mark Sherman of restructuring firm Alvarez and Marshall. So, according to a Trump transition official speaking to the press, the president-elect wanted to know more about giving more options to veterans and allowing them to go to any hospital of their choice. But he acknowledged some veterans like the current VA care that they get. Like I said earlier before we started doing this, it all depends on what state you're on how good a VA care you get.
You mean if you're in Florida
Or Phoenix.
Or Tennessee.
yeah.
If you're in Phoenix, you want to go to your own doctor.
Yeah.
Definitely. Or Florida. You don't want to.
Yeah.
You don't want to die in a Florida VA center.
Sit
Definitely
all
not.
for 7 days.
Yeah, that's just 7 days. I don't think it was 7 days. It might as well have been, though. I mean, that's just utterly ridiculous.
Oh, they left somebody in a bed for 7 days after they passed away.
Do what? Now, I haven't heard that.
Yeah.
I'll have to look that.
This was a few, maybe
Yes, you have.
a few
Remember we
weeks,
were-
maybe a month ago.
I thought we were talking about that.
No, I didn't know about the 7-day thing.
Now, you had heard about it.
Okay, bring that up and let's talk about that because, I mean,
Well,
find out the information.
I briefly saw them, scrolling Facebook and Instagram that I believe, was it in Miami?
Well, now Miami. Okay, now I think it was Miami, Florida, is the one where they had the dad
Over 9 hours in the shower
over 9
room.
hours in the shower.
The regional
rolled him out into the
office,
hallway.
yeah.
They had one they put
maybe
him
it
in
was
there.
maybe it was Phoenix or Tucson, something like that.
I think it was Tucson.
Yeah, let's find that out.
it was
A
Tucson.
patient had passed away, and they didn't do anything about it.
Well,
They left him in the bed in his room for 7 days.
Where are you saying this was at?
Tucson. I think.
Tucson, I think.
And there again, that one was caused by people not knowing what the proper.
Oh, wait a minute. Whoa.
Which is
I hear
which
this.
is not the case because they have CNAs and nurses.
You would think
Correct.
somebody out of that group
would
that
have
would
seen
know.
that.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
That's what they say.
The
But the truth is, somebody out of that group had to know what to do.
Somebody screwed up
how to
and didn't
handle
want it to be them that got
Right.
caught.
right.
what
That's ridiculous, man. That's like unacceptable. That is. People need to be hammered for that. Yeah. Let's bring it up on the next.
Fine.
Well, a lot of that stuff, I'll start reading it, and then
You get so
I
pissed
get
off.
mad. So
Well, that's like most veterans, and that's one of the reasons why we're doing this. But I mean, it's this stuff has got to be talked about. It's got to be brought up, and I think that's one of the reasons why we're doing this.
See, there again, we're doing it so people out there will have answers.
Well, there's going to be change.
Be able to answer the question.
We know there's change coming, right?
Yeah.
And so it's our responsibility. I feel like to keep those because the news is not talking about it. They're not sitting here hammering every day about what the VA care is going on.
It doesn't suit their agenda.
No, it doesn't suit their agenda, and I think that's why we're doing this. Main part of this is to try to keep that transition as Trump is trying to change everything, which I believe he's going to. But everything that we're sitting here presenting, these are the facts. These are what we want changed as veterans. We don't want to have a brother laying in a hallway or sitting in a wheelchair dead and then rolled back into the shower
The shower.
for 9 hours.
Yeah.
I mean, that's utterly ridiculous.
That's like covering up a turd with a paper towel
That's exactly
and
right.
thinking it's going to pick itself up.
It's not going to happen.
No.
And it's the
Somebody has to address it.
disrespect that is in there, involved in that. Not to mention this 7
I'm
day.
not calling a patient a turd. It's just a
No,
euphemism.
yeah, it's the military mind at work. The way we have to.
The way I think is.
Yeah. So what else? What else do we have? I mean,
Well, the other part, so like the last part of that Trump thing right here is basically what he says, his priority was to eliminate the long wait times at the VA. That's his number one goal right now on the thing that they're trying to work on is making sure that vets don't have a long wait time to be able to get taken care of. Because what he says, another quote from him down here is I don't want to, well, that was written weird. I don't want veterans waiting in line for weeks, he told reporters. And in many cases they have a minor illness, and it takes so long that it turns out to be a major illness and beyond that.
Well, Trump, I'll tell you one thing right now. If you're actually listening, I will tell you this right now. What I don't want to happen, and I understand what you're trying to say, but what I don't want the VA, and we know how the VA acts in response to things like this, right? What I don't want to happen is them to take a 15-minute that they already give us right now and then cut it down to 5 minutes. You understand what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, we still
need the proper care.
You might sit in the waiting room for 3 hours and get 15 minutes of
we don't
time.
want this reform to get turned into a rush job.
Right? And so, and I'm not saying Trump's going to do that. That's not what I'm saying.
Right.
I'm saying the people that are
down the line.
That's what we've got to look out for. We've got to look out for the whole rush jobs, just to try to appease what's going on, right?
And the snowballing's got to stop.
Yeah, the snowballing has got to
Well,
stop.
I feel like the 5-minute thing would definitely change if it became, where you can get mixed help between, because what he said in there, he wants it to be an option where you can be straight up just vet care, a mixture of private and the VA care, or just all private care if you want, whatever works best for you.
Well, I know they've been trying.
As an individual.
They've been trying more to do that, at least here.
Yeah, they got that one thing, but the problem is they're not paying the bills. Like, there was one gentleman we talked about last time who went into a private hospital, the VA, so that they would pay for his x-rays.
Yeah, he gets the bills.
And so they didn't pay for his x-rays. He owes like $400 or $800. And not just that, but now the VA is saying he needs to go back in for another x-ray, and they still haven't paid for the first one.
For the first one.
Yeah.
Because they've been allowed to run exactly how they want to. They haven't been checked by anybody.
Well,
they check themselves.
Checks and balances.
Right. Where's the third party making sure that they're doing all the procedures?
Well, let me ask you a question. I mean,
Who's
seriously,
the guy in the back room finding the loopholes too?
Exactly.
Well, who's on the top of this whole thing? Who's on the top tier of the VA? It's our government, correct? So if you don't have checks and balances in your own government, what makes you think the VA is going to be any better?
Right. Well,
Let's just be honest. I mean, that's exactly what's going on here.
And the thing is, they put somebody in charge of all the VA hospitals. He's nothing but a puppet because he has to go to them and say, this is what I did. And if they don't agree with it, he's in trouble.
Well,
he's always going to do what they want done. The way they want done.
Right.
Right.
Well, the Oklahoma City VA, I will say one good thing that I've heard about lately is they've got a new administrator over the hospital, and he launched an investigation into all of the, accusations and complaints that go
Before
into
it even came to
this
news?
hospital. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
So when he got assigned to this hospital, he's taken the place of someone else. He initiated this investigation. It's an internal investigation into this VA hospital.
Now, when they do their investigations, do you know if they do like a private sector?
I don't know if they do that or not.
Because just like I was talking to you about the conflict of interest thing on the
Well, I've been in Florida. But I went to Florida VA hospitals, Texas VA hospitals, and Oklahoma VA hospitals. And Oklahoma, by far, is the very best one of the three.
Yeah.
My biggest problem in Oklahoma with the VA system is having to deal with Muskogee.
Yeah, I've never dealt with
Getting
Muskogee.
anything done with Muskogee as far as paperwork and stuff like that, because their region is monstrous. They're the whole western side of the United States.
The wait time is just amazing. Which I think that's what Trump is also talking about too, in that whole thing, right?
Well, just the fact that he met with somebody that a restructuring company.
That's like his priority. Is
he met with a restructuring company, so that tells me that not only is he talking to doctors to try to figure out the problems, he's also going to people that deal with specifically restructuring how to do these things.
Right.
Well,
see, and that's what I've told a lot of people. One of the main reasons why I ended up voting for Trump, because I was on the fence for a few days before the election. I'll be honest. But this is the first time I voted, or was able to vote, and I'm quite proud that I got to vote for Trump.
Since you got out of the hospital.
Oh my!
Out of the nut house.
He's just here to fill space.
That's still quite a bit of space too.
But and one thing I did like about Donald Trump running for president was the business side. His business mind is kind of what we need right now. Because
Coming from a private sector.
yeah, because he doesn't have all the red tape and the
Well, America was tired of the constant bureaucrats coming in
Right.
here and doing the same thing over. People just got tired of it. You
Right.
know?
Well, and I,
Doing the same
and I
thing
could hear
over and again,
his
just
honesty.
differently maybe, but the
I
same
could hear
thing.
his honesty. I could believe him in his rhetoric during the campaign.
Right, when somebody speaks from their heart, and I mean, Damien does it all the time, but you say things sometimes
He
you
can't speak with
really.
his brain.
Right,
He
well,
doesn't have one.
sometimes, and I've said this too, you know, when we've been in here, we've talked in the shop a lot, and you get so passionate about something, your voice elevates a little bit, and you start talking from your heart, but every now and again your ass comes up through your throat, and you just, you know what I'm saying? I mean, sometimes it just comes out because you're pissed. You are genuinely pissed about what's going on, and you're hurt. You actually, to me, you see the damage that has been done.
And you feel betrayed.
Exactly right. You feel betrayed by what has been going on, and sometimes when you do speak like that, sometimes things do get interpreted a little bit differently.
And by the way, just a side note, if anybody knows Whoopi Goldberg, I'd like to debate her.
Whoopi Goldberg?
Oh,
Goldberg.
Whoopi Goldberg?
I thought she was moving.
You'd
What,
like
Oh yeah, she's moving. Never mind.
You'd like
What?
to date her? What?
No, I'd like
what
to
is
debate
up
her.
with all these?
Oh,
What's
okay.
up with all these celebrities, man? That we're gonna move.
That never moved.
That never move.
It's just a whole political thing.
Running
That's
her
all
mouth.
it is.
She ain't
Right,
gone
right.
anywhere.
That's
She has
all
not
it
gone
is.
Let's be
anywhere.
honest.
Is
This stuff happens every election.
Right. but
Every
see,
election. This is
that's
not
what
the
I'm talking
first
about.
time.
Actually, it happens with every election with Whoopi Goldberg.
They talk about Trump, but yet they're speaking out their ass too. Their ass is coming up through their voice.
Well,
I mean,
most
seriously.
of them, their face is their ass.
It's this.
Let's hope hers doesn't come up. Let's hope hers doesn't come up through her voice because hers is about that.
Bus
Stop
driver,
it.
but
We don't like Whoopi.
Hey, I love Jumpin' Jack Flash. All right,
I did too.
that was a good one.
So I'm quite disappointed.
I wasn't a fan of that terrible '90s or one with the dinosaur that was her partner or whatever. I don't remember what that one was called, but it wasn't so good.
I don't remember that.
You
Oh,
can't
you're
remember
good.
the
You're
name.
younger than me.
We call those B movies.
Oh, it was like late '80s.
That's a B
You're younger
movie.
than me. So
All of them were like
It was a B
if
movie.
there was a dinosaur in it and it was a cop, you were younger than me, which means that's.
It was a sci-fi movie. Yeah, it was a really bad sci-fi movie.
All right, real quick. Do you want to talk about the Israeli thing?
Yeah, let's talk about it. Once you hit it, I got some of it pulled up. Right
Okay,
here for you.
so I'll tell you what, man. I'm kind of really pissed off. I mean, I've always been pissed off with John Kerry, but this dude is basically, to me, what he's saying to the Jews is either conform or there will be no peace.
So basically, he's saying the same thing that Islam is saying to the infidels.
Definitely the Palestinians. He's
Yes.
definitely following the Palestinian line.
Well, okay, now we talked to somebody, history guy, which we will actually have him on the air sometime soon.
I guess there's really no
Because-
Palestinian.
I love the way
Actually,
I love the way how he presents things. He presents things in a logical sense, which that's what we
And
like.
who
We
is
like the
this?
logic. David Bounce, he's a good friend of mine.
Oh, yeah, I know him.
So in retrospect, when I'm sitting here and we had some questions, we went ahead and we called him up and we talked to him a little bit today on the speakerphone, and we were talking. And Palestinians,
Are non-existent, really.
that it's not. There's no such
thing.
freaking thing.
They're,
no
they're
such thing.
Jordanians.
Just so that
Right,
just so
they're either
that people
Jordanians
know.
or Syrians.
Right.
Right, and it's not like it's what it is that Palestinians got made up by Yasser Arafat.
Yasser Arafat. He's the one that came up
He
with the
just says-
terminology.
You guys are
Yasser,
Palestinian.
there you go.
Yeah.
Yasser.
Yeah, I mean, really? I mean, and so you can tell throughout this whole thing. Now, this may be getting into theory. I don't know. You guys stop me if it is. But when you start talking about with the administrator that we've had going through all this, right? And they actually changed out and they supported the Muslim Brotherhoods, right, on Egypt, okay?
We'll call it the current regime.
Yeah, the current regime. But when
Okay.
but when you set that up, well, look who ironically at the UN started this whole thing up and put it into a vote, right? Because now America's saying Well, Egypt put it up for a vote, and we agree with it.
And
Of
they
course
did it,
you do.
and they did it on the sly on a Christian holiday.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's crazy. That I mean,
I am so glad that shit's going to stop.
it needs to. But
Actually, the whole UN needs to stop. That
Well,
needs
yeah.
to be done away with.
I agree with
UN's about as useful as the VA.
that is true. I'm sorry. Hey, John Kerry, I didn't elect you to vote anything into office with the UN. I'm sorry, but you're talking out your ass if you're speaking for me as an
And I
American.
don't give
The
a
minute-
shit if you're a veteran. I don't consider you a
The
veteran.
minute I heard that John Kerry had thrown his medals over the White House
Exactly.
fence, his ass should have been gone.
Exactly.
You're hearing that from a veteran, so there you go. I mean, seriously,
I'm sorry, but
this
the
guy.
minute he let go of those things, he let go of anything he has, any rights he had.
Well, because I know what kind of soldier he was. That right there is a clue into the kind of soldier he was, and we all dealt with them.
Yeah, yeah.
You
During our
remember
time
the
in
backlash
service.
when he was talking about how dumb Marines were years
Yes.
ago?
He should be dead. What
Like,
happened, Marines?
that's when he was still running. You know, it was ridiculous.
Yeah, when he was running,
There's
he was-
laws against that.
when he was running his mouth, basically.
Yeah.
And he shouldn't have had any right to run. I mean, never should he have had the right to run for the presidency. And also, he should have never had the right to say anything. It all really boils down to he should have never had any rights at all, as far as military or political, anything
No,
like
all
that.
that
He
should have been revoked.
It should have been
As soon as
revoked. It should have been
as soon as
revoked.
he did that,
That should have
When
been
he
a
let go of
dishonorable
those,
discharge.
that's like giving up your U.S.
Yes.
What do you call it? Denouncing your U.S. citizenship.
citizenship, right? He
Right.
was basically.
Right. Well, whenever you get a dishonorable discharge, I mean, let's just do the facts here. If I'm right, you can't own land, right?
That I don't.
Legally, I don't think you
I
can own
don't think
land.
that's true.
No, you can own land.
You can own land?
Yeah. You can vote. You can still
vote.
get
You still do
Well,
all
there's
that
different degrees of dishonorable discharge.
I know
Well,
that.
see, and that's why I'm bringing it up because you used
They're
to
all
recruit
bad.
also. So.
Right. Well, so you have your most common one, which is what I want to call a general under dishonorable conditions,
Right.
or less than honorable conditions.
What would be the most extreme?
Dishonorable discharge.
Just dishonorable
Straight up.
discharge.
Well, I mean, that's
Usually though, when you get that, you're going to jail.
Yeah, you're going to Leavenworth.
Yeah,
Or,
you know, you're in handcuffs. You did something.
But I know veterans.
really bad.
I know veterans
Not
that
just
have
like
dishonorable
you went
discharges.
out, you kept showing up, you know, drunk to work or something like
Right.
that.
you've had a court martial probably.
Exactly.
Right, right.
I know veterans though.
That's how you get.
I know veterans with dishonorable discharges that are more loyal to our country than a lot of our politicians and a lot of the people that are in high position.
Yeah, because they made a mistake. You know.
Well,
And-
some of the good soldiers out there have been dishonorably discharged.
Well,
Sure.
I had a sergeant major tell me one time that a first sergeant wasn't a good first sergeant unless he had at least 2 Article 15s. Because that meant he had the balls to stand up for what he believed in and,
There you go.
and
Exactly.
the roots for being a leader.
Exactly.
Right.
Well, 9 times out of 10, if someone gets like a general under dishonorable conditions, if they've been in for long enough,
It's-
usually, you know, after they've been in through a few tours,
Right.
you know,
Got caught
I thought you got that for
they
grabbing
popped
women
hot
by
on
the
piss
oh, never
test.
mind.
popped out a piss test. Maybe they're, you know, addicted to, you know, some form of prescription that they've been getting.
Well, I've got an honorable and
You know.
I flunked a few piss tests.
Right.
Or they've got a.
They become more aggressive due to untreated issues.
Yeah.
And-
What do they call it when? I've had a few Article 15s myself. Been busted a couple
We all
times.
had.
So,
I think we've
why
all.
they call it a
You're not a soldier if you haven't had an
I
Article
know.
15.
Well,
I mean, you can't grab a staff.
Half the time you get one in basic training.
I developed.
That's a little too quick.
I developed a pattern of behavior. Is
That
what
was
they called
common.
it.
So
They
Right.
called it
Really?
a pattern of behavior, and that's why I got my third article.
At the very least, you should have 5 negative counseling statements.
You can't count my negative counselings. And if any of my NCOs are watching, I miss you.
I loved all mine, by the way. Except maybe the one I threw on the ground. But besides that, I loved
may
all
not.
that
I
stuff.
may not have acted like it, but I do. I miss most of the people I was in the service with.
Mhm.
You know,
Most people do.
for one reason or another.
You know what taking in on all this stuff though is we went from Israeli all the way back into John Kerry
That's because we hate it. He's a piece of shit.
Because
no,
it's a circle.
you know what I see? You know what I see?
It's not
though?
a square.
It's a circle.
I see it is a circle, but what I'm also seeing is something that I haven't seen happen in a long time, which you bring up a bad topic that's going on, but we kind of have a sense that this stuff is going to be handled. It's going to be taken care of. You know what I'm saying?
In some form.
We have hope. We have hope that it will.
Well, we have hopes. I think that's
the whole thing with Israel is the last gasp. The outgoing regime, they're trying to
Exactly.
do
everything they can before they get out.
Wherever they can,
right.
as much as they can in the time that they have left. But the fact that Netanyahu and Trump have been
they've already been in communication with
they've
each
been in
other,
communication. I'm not worried about it. I feel bad for the Israeli people because it's going to cause them some issues in the next few weeks.
Well, I think Australia is against what John Kerry said. But the scary thing is when I was looking through it, there's a lot of people that were for what John Kerry said.
That's ridiculous.
Well,
what's the one thing you said?
Can you say liberal?
That's a racist statement.
It's anti-Semitic.
It is.
It's
to
to
the
the Jews.
extreme.
It's either you can be Jewish or you can be a Democrat. You can't be both.
You can't be both.
The liberal ideology kind of.
I mean, how's that different than saying you can either be a Christian or you can be a Democrat?
Or a Muslim?
You can be an American.
Right.
You can be an American,
No, you're
or
right.
you can be in a democratic society.
It's
That's
like
bullshit.
your
Right.
religion has nothing to do
No.
with it. Should, it's just like this, separation of church and state, which is a bunch of bullshit because that hasn't ever worked.
Right.
Well, that's not even
A long time ago, there was separation of church and state.
Yeah.
Well, but
Not
that's
50
not in the
years ago.
context that people put it in, right?
Yeah.
Because I hear that crap so much, and that has nothing to do with our Constitution of the United States. So I'm just making sure that everybody knows that separation from church and state was a letter that was written by who?
An owl?
Who?
He had a white wig.
Yeah, he had a white wig. Actually, I'll tell you what. You guys post it up behind the comments
Madison.
below and let us
Madison.
know.
No.
I'll tell you
No.
what. I'll tell you what. The first 3 people to get it right in the comments, we'll send you a Rico Rifle Slings decal.
There you go. That'll work. Yeah, we'll do that.
Yeah, that's a good
Yes.
idea.
And a white wig.
Tell
No,
us the
just kidding.
story
No,
about.
we can't afford a white.
Tell us a story about
American?
separation from church and state. Yeah. Yeah.
And so,
a good idea.
Somebody's
It
going to
really
go
is.
into the books and they're going to cite the whole thing.
The whole thing, yeah. No, we want your opinion on it too. I mean,
That's all right.
because- Yeah,
That's cool because
yeah.
I want to see some educated savage,
Heck yeah, man. That's awesome. Let's
Yeah,
look
I think we're also going to get a Twitter page put up.
We'll do
Yeah,
that.
that's cool.
You can deal with that on Twitter.
We might even
That's
have
what I figured. I know you guys are kind of old. You guys are a little old for Twitter.
I'm not old.
I can
He's
do
the
it.
old one.
I can do it for you guys, but we really want it before like 3 or 4 years.
Okay,
right?
if you guys are at least 8 years older than me, raise your hand.
How old are you?
32. He's counting on his fingers. Yeah.
I don't have to count. I'm
You
just
don't
saying
gotta
that I
raise
have
your
it where my
hand.
Yes.
hand.
Just look at you.
I am.
What are you,
Marine-
like,
Marine over
36?
here.
Exactly.
The Army guy. So, yeah, and we'll check in on some Vet Logic decals too. I think we can do that. We can do some Vet Logic decals. And so we'll have little tweaking questions that people can kind of respond on. That'd be
And
kind of
we'll
cool.
put up, no.
We'll have Damien think of one every week.
Yeah, we can do
It's
that.
your job. It's on you. I'm not
Guys-
singling you out.
As always,
Sorry.
if
You
there's
have to have the answer too, though. You have to have the answer too, though.
Jeez.
now you're making his brain think.
I just thought I was going to sit here
Did I see smoke? I just saw
you know,
smoke.
talk
coming
like
here
I
for a
always
second.
do.
That's to say that he actually is thinking.
Guys, from Veteran Logic, look, it's been a great night.
Oh, do you guys
we will-
want to talk about a couple things like the beard contest?
Oh, yeah, we do.
Yeah, if you're familiar with Rico Rifle, well, you told them that we're mainly from Rico Rifle, right?
No, this is actually our very first video. So we did that. We did an actual pilot episode that only a selected few got to see,
Okay.
and
Well-
we got the thumbs up. So, so go ahead.
The majority of us, Will, is the founder of a company called Recoil Rifle Slings. We make rifle slings. You know, we make the highest high-end rifle sling you can get
Right.
for your $3,000 rifle.
That's right.
You know, that way you don't have to put it.
Made by veterans.
Right, made by veterans, by hand. The company is owned by veterans.
Lifetime guarantee.
Lifetime guarantee. You want to go through the whole story?
Yeah, go through those.
Okay. So, but we've got decals, t-shirts, hats, slings, and among other things. You check our website out, www.recoilrifleslings.com. Instagram, @recoilrifleslings, @Pipe Dreamer.
We'll put it all down in the description. We'll put the links down in the
Everything will be
description.
right down below.
Yeah.
Isn't that how they always say it? Down below.
So what was I saying?
The beard
Oh, the beard
competition.
Oh, the beard song. So yesterday on Instagram and
Oh
Facebook,
God, he's the one coming up with the question.
we made a video announcing our beard competition to support out of work vets.
Yeah.
And by January 1st, you're going to take a picture of yourself, post it to hashtag and put in the comments hashtag Recoil Rifle Slings, hashtag Beard Challenge. And by midnight, January 1st, not going into Tuesday or Sunday.
I think Sunday.
Sunday.
Yeah, Sunday.
Okay. So January 1st at midnight with your shaved face. And if you get them in now, you've got a couple extra days of growth. February 14th, you post a sign again with your mid-growth. And then March 31st, you have your final beard picture with your sign and your hashtags in the comments with your final beard. And March 31st at midnight, the vets here we're gonna judge from the entries.
Oh, that's right.
And the best beard is going to win first place, gets the Beard Challenge sling
Rifle sling,
that
yeah.
we've already made. It's pretty cool.
The only one of a kind.
Yeah, it'll be one of a kind. All data and design stuff, all that stuff is going to be deleted after the contest. We have a couple of other sponsors and people who are going to contribute to second, third.
It
place
may end up
prizes.
being a prize package versus
Right.
just a sling.
Yeah,
Right.
well, we're going to take care of second and third
Yeah.
place. Too.
Yeah, we'll get second.
So
third.
there'll be other things like maybe a brimmet,
Yeah.
which is
That's for sure.
one
Little
of
thing
these
right here.
with a
Rim
special
clip.
with a special design on it.
These things are cool.
That's it.
Hats. We've got
we got these hats right
we've
here.
got morale patches, PVC vinyl morale patches, t-shirts,
There you go, infidel.
a whole bunch of stuff. So if you want to enter that, I'm not competing because I don't want to beat all of you. 'Cause I
Conflict of interest, sir.
And believe me,
Totally. You can
nobody
totally
wants
do
to see him without that beard.
He'll try to start it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not shaving again.
And I haven't seen myself in 25 years without a beard, so I definitely don't want to see that.
So and I
Like a
guess
schnauzer. Oh,
Any
God.
other kind of events? I mean, I know we got a
Shave it
event
off
shoot
is
coming
one.
up in May, right? We're going to be going to Bianchi.
we're going to be shooting at the Bianchi Cup,
Yeah.
the NRA Midway 2017 Bianchi Cup National Pistol Shooting Championships.
Yeah, we'll be taking our vets and officers and firefighters
Yep.
along with us. We'll be having a team. So.
We've got a team, so we'll be going down there and competing against the best pistol shooters in the world and having a good time because it's more about the fun and the experience.
Definitely, if there's any sponsors that want to help us out on that for
Yeah.
vets, help pay for their jerseys or whatever, please actually email us.
Ammunition.
Yeah, ammunition would be a great supporter. Whatever you guys can do, that would be awesome for our vets. We would deeply appreciate that. We will actually be doing a show there because we talked Dave into going, so I think Dave's going to go with us.
We had
And,
talked all and told them.
Yeah, so Derek's gonna go. So we'll basically be doing a show at the Bianchi Cup
Yep.
at the competition shoot.
I kind of want to just take blanks out there. They're just like, all right, draw it. I just shoot a bunch and nothing hits anything. They're like, what's going on? I got this.
You better not be on the same fireground as me.
Oh, I
That'll
will.
be funny.
I will. I'll be like, what's going on?
You know how dirty
Just
that'll
shoot
be?
into the air.
I want
Guys,
to say something.
Go ahead.
I want everybody out there to remember the 22. If you don't know what the 22 is,
Look it
22
up.
veterans a day commit suicide, one every 69 minutes.
It's actually more than that, but that was the number at the time.
Right, exactly.
I actually ran into a guy wearing one of the bracelets a couple weeks ago out on Campus Corner.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Cool.
But I just want everybody to be aware of it, and
And also,
Thank you, Dave,
and
for
remember,
bringing that up.
if you're
That's-
thinking,
that's a
if you're having destructive thoughts towards yourself or somebody else, talk to somebody.
Yeah,
Talk
Definitely.
to somebody.
people are willing to listen. People are willing to listen.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
definitely. You got anything, Derek?
No, not really.
Look at that blank look on his
Yeah, he's blank. He's,
Got nothing.
you know, drill instructors are just right to the point, man.
I don't want to
It's
get loud.
Right
Don't
there.
make me get
It's
loud.
just it.
No.
Damon, you're good.
I'm very good.
Guys, I'm Will again, and thanks a lot. We do appreciate you guys for watching, and we look to be doing some more of these very, very soon.
Yeah.
Very soon.
Weekly,
So,
hopefully.
Weekly, and we'll get these up. So if there is something that you want us to talk about or something that's come up, please definitely PM us. We also have veteranlogic.org.
Yes, we do.
Veteranlogic.org. If you get up on our forums, you can actually chat with all of us. So we're all going to be on there, and we will be the co-host on there.
Mm-hmm.
Each one of us will have our own name. So if there's somebody that you actually want to talk to, just type it in on the forums and join in with us. So, guys, thanks again. We appreciate you from Vet Logic. See you later, guys.
Have a good one.